It's a lot sooner.
Yeah, I ran in there for some Super
Try
Bowl
to ride them
pizzas.
up enough
Well,
time
you
to
should
get
just come over there
there.
and ate the food.
I
There was
didn't.
more than enough food over there. I was trying to figure out how they got all them 50 people in one place at one time.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everybody to the February 14th, 2024 City of Henderson Board of Zoning Adjustment hearing. Sarah, may we get a roll call, please?
Mac Arnold, Heather Knight,
Yes.
Rob Turney,
Yes.
Landon Overfield.
Here.
Marcos Nicholas.
Here,
Thank you, Sarah. Mr. Davis, for this evening's presentation, do you promise to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much. Our first appeal, Appeal 3505, will you bring that to our attention, please?
Yes.
Bob, you won't screen down.
Probably.
If, yes.
I'll read this while they're getting the screen down, guys.
Okay.
Proposed Appeal 3505 is submitted by Anna Moore for the property located at 833 First Street. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow placement of a manufactured house in an R3 zone pursuant to Article 13, Section 1303E, Appendix A, Zoning Code, City of Henderson, Kentucky. This property is zoned R3. All adjoining property owners have been notified. We have not received any calls concerning this appeal. The applicant, in filling out their conditional use permit worksheet, states that the requested conditional use permit is justified because it is an essential use and that it will provide affordable housing solution in an R3 zone. Conditions that would eliminate or minimize adverse effects for the proposed use in the zoning district are: A, the manufactured home will meet the acceptable installation standards. B, the manufactured home will meet the acceptable appearance standards. C, watershed will be contained on the property. D, it will create infill on a lot that is vacant. And let me clarify, there's a house that's on 833 now. The next door lot is vacant. She had to consolidate the lots to get the new home to fit on the property correctly. She will demo the house and then it will be a vacant lot, so she's going to infill that area. The home will increase the property value. Staff has reviewed the request and recommend approval. We forward the appeal to the board for your consideration, any further conditions that you deem appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Does this board have any questions for Mr. Davis? Does the board have any questions for Mr. Davis? If there are no questions for Mr. Davis, I'll ask the applicant to come to the podium, please. Please sign in with your name and address. Please state your name.
Anna Moore.
Ms. Moore, do you promise to tell the truth?
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to add that Mr. Davis didn't cover?
No, I've lived there for 14 years, and before my husband passed, we had bought the lot that was adjoining to our property, and we tore that house down, and we extended our yard. Unbeknownst to me, my house that I'm living in now is not structurally stable. So I've had it looked at by professionals that came in and said that it is not safe and it would cost me more to try and fix it, and it may not be possible for even that. So I had decided to demo and buy a manufactured home and set it on that lot.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Does this board have any questions for Ms. Moore?
Is it gonna face the street, or is it gonna?
It's going to face the street.
It's gonna face the street?
Yes.
Here's a picture.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
It will fit
I feel like I'm in the
Yes.
spotlight.
You consolidated two lots.
I consolidated both lots, so, and now that's been done.
That's what I was getting, that's my next question, was have we consolidated both of those lots already?
Yes.
Okay. Fine.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Moore?
Hey, Vicky. Oh,
I thought you were putting me on the stage like I was in the theater.
Right?
Sarah, do you have a photo of the front of the actual, that's what it will look like facing the street?
And I also plan to build a porch around, so it will be a block foundation with a porch after we get it set on the lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
no,
Are
what
there-
happened to that? It's got gremlins
Please excuse
today.
us a second. We're
You're
trying
fine.
to technology squared away.
Trying to get all the technical equipment working.
We had Dawn standing for an old picture.
Okay.
What is going on with that?
Sarah,
I know, it's that, it's that thing.
If it worked right, you know.
TV's on. So, if you want to-
Yeah, let's just go with the TV.
Yeah.
okay.
If you want to get up and look at it.
I looked at Steve's picture.
I got pictures.
Does this board have any additional questions for Ms. Moore? If there are no additional questions, you may be seated. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for or against Appeal 3505? Please approach the podium. Anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3505? If there is nobody here to speak for or against Appeal 3505, I will close the open forum and ask for a motion, please.
I'll make the motion. I move we grant appeal number 3505 for a conditional use permit to allow the placement of a manufactured home on the property located at 833 First Street, which is zoned residential 3, with the following conditions. Structure to be placed on the property shall be a manufactured home as defined in Article 2, Section 2.01 of the zoning ordinance. The manufactured home shall be situated on the lot within all setback lines set forth in the zoning ordinance. The lot and manufactured home to be placed upon it shall meet the standard of Article 31, Section 31.04. The placement of the manufactured home shall not divert the natural flow of water, nor will it cause water to be diverted onto adjacent properties. This approved conditional use permit is for the property. The evidence submitted through the written documentation attached to the appeal and submitted through the testimony presented at the preceding hearing confirms and we find as follows. 1, the property is zoned R3, which according to the zoning ordinance was established to provide developmental potential in older sections of Henderson and to redevelop older neighborhoods is encouraged through the use of flexible lot and placement regulations. The placement of a manufactured home on the current lot at 833 First Street. I'll tell you why in a minute. 833 First Street is an appropriate use for the intended purpose of Article 13 of the zoning ordinance. 3, the placement of a manufactured home on the lot will fill a vacant lot with new housing, will enhance the neighborhood, and in all likelihood will enhance the surrounding property values.
Can I
Second.
get a second, please?
Second.
Is there any discussion among this board on the motion? If not, Sarah, may we get a vote?
Heather,
Yes.
Landon,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Ms. Moore, Appeal 3505 has been granted in your favor. If you have any questions about some of the conditions that were placed on it, just see Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Moore, thank you for improving that property. I grew up at 812 Second Street. So I was in that area all my young years.
I've
That's-
lived there for 14, and my husband and I lived there for 12. So I just didn't want to vacate my
Well-
property.
I hope you're happy with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next appeal, 3506. Mr. Davis, will you bring that one to our attention, please?
Yes. Proposed Appeal 3506 is submitted by 42420H LLC for the property located at 213 Second Street. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow multiple uses, businesses, but not more than 3 may be allowed in the same structure or building pursuant to Article 20, Section 28.030, Appendix A, Zoning Code, City of Henderson, Kentucky. This property is zoned CBD. All adjoining property owners have been notified. We have not received calls concerning this appeal. The applicant, in filling out their conditional use permit worksheet, states that the requested conditional use permit is justified because it is an essential use, in that it maximizes the usage of the property while meeting the intent of the zoning requirements to preserve and maintain visual integrity of the downtown business district. The conditional use would promote public health, safety, and welfare by adding needed mixed-use and residential units in the central business district while maintaining the approved requirements of the zoning regulations, thus promoting future economic development. Conditions that would eliminate or minimize adverse effects of the proposed use in the zoning district are: A, maintain visual appearance and aesthetic desired in the central business district. B, promote residential living in central business district. C, provide an economic investment in the central business district. And D, be a catalyst for other types of development in the central business district. Staff has reviewed the request and recommend approval. We forward the appeal to the board for your consideration. Any further conditions that you deem appropriate.
Mr. Davis, have you had any calls for or against this appeal?
We have not.
Okay, does this board have any questions for Mr. Davis? If there are no questions for Mr. Davis, will the applicant or applicant's representative please approach the podium? Please sign in with your name and address. Please state your name.
Tim Skinner?
Mr. Skinner, do you promise to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Skinner, are you the applicant or the representative? of
I
the
represent the applicant
Okay.
in this situation.
In what manner?
I'm the architect for the project,
Okay.
for future development.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add to Mr. Davis's testimony?
No, they're just, it's what, I would know is a dollar store building, but the elite screen printing building that the Jenkinses have developed, and that's been in operation a couple of years now, and they just want to continue to go back and now continue to develop that building on the second and third floor into residential facilities. So we needed to come to get a approval for a mixed use.
Thank you, Mr. Skinner. Does this board have any questions for Mr. Skinner? Does this board have any questions for Mr. Skinner? It appears we have no questions for you. If you would like, you may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3506? Is there anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3506? If there is nobody here to speak for or against Appeal 3506, I will close the open forum and ask for a motion, please.
So I got a question real quick, Sean.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know, of course, according to this, they're gonna be residential. But say in the future, they decided they wanna make another one a business, would it still be okay under this, or would they have to come back?
It'll be okay unless you restrict that, unless you say that.
Okay.
Okay. I've been gone 3 months, so I'll make a vote first.
We're gonna let Landon talk today.
I move to grant appeal number 3506 for a conditional use permit to allow multiple, but not more than 3 business uses in the same structure of the property located at 213 Second Street, which is currently zoned Central Business District, with the following conditions. The property owner and all occupants of the building shall comply with the general regulations set forth in Article 20, Section 20.04. All occupants of the building will be limited to using the building for uses permitted under Article 34, Section 34.02 of the zoning ordinance. Businesses occupying the structure will be limited to business hours 8 a.m. through 9 p.m. Central Time. Any structural improvement or renovations must be approved by the city codes administrator. Any signage used by any of the occupants of the building will comply with the signage ordinance of the city of Henderson. The owner and occupants shall at all times maintain the visual appearance and aesthetics desired in the CBD. This approved conditional use permit is for the property. The evidence submitted through the written documents attached to the appeal and submitted through the testimony at the preceding hearing confirms and we find the property is zoned as part of the central business district and will maximize the usage of the property while preserving and maintaining the visual appearance of the central business district. Use of the structure for up to 3 businesses is permitted as a conditional use under Article 34, Section 34.02 of the zoning ordinance. The proposed use of the property will add mixed use and needed residential units to the central business district while maintaining the approved requirements of the zoning ordinance and will promote economic development.
May I get a second, please?
Go ahead. The only thing I was gonna ask about is, should that be with the property or property owner?
He said with the permit.
Wait, let's get the second, and then we'll go into discussion.
Okay.
Marcos?
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion concerning the motion?
I just didn't know if we should do property owner or if we should do property, but I just wanna ask.
That's your all's decision, that's not.
Well, and I mean, if they stole it, then I just wanna make sure the person coming in behind them's gonna follow the same condition. You know what I mean?
The conditions will stay with the property. So anybody that buys it, now, I'm
Yeah.
crediting on you, would have to abide by what the conditions we placed on it tonight.
Is that inherent to the motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Would say with the property.
Please approach the podium.
Sure.
Sign in with your name and address, please.
Yeah, I don't foresee them selling it, I just wanna, I like to make sure they're,
Please state your name.
Stephen Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins, do you promise to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Jenkins,
So, I know the
would you
public-
like to add?
I know the public forum is closed, but I'm the applicant, so I didn't know if I could speak or not. But the concern I have is the hour limitation on the conditions.
Before you start speaking, you're right, I need to make, I would like to make a motion to reopen the public forum, please.
second.
Okay, do we need to vote on that, or is that?
I would.
Yeah.
A vote, please.
Heather?
I put that in there, I didn't know whether,
Wayman?
yes.
Marcos?
Yes.
We've gone
Okay,
through the.
so the intention of the properties right now is I don't have tenants or for residents or businesses. I'm going to develop the properties. We're in the process of cleaning the interior of the buildings out, getting all the infrastructure back in place. And so one of the uses of the second floor is potentially an adjacent event space which is permitted in the CDB for the event center, which the 9 o'clock limitation on timing would be, counterproductive to that business if that business was actually in there. So that's just one of the potential uses. Right now, we have it slated for residential. So that was what's concerned me about the conditions in that.
Okay.
Let me ask this. Do we really need to have the time? I mean, we've done it before, and that's why I did it again. Do we really need to have the time limitation on it?
The only concern I have, and I don't even know because I haven't been down there to look and see, is there a apartment next to this particular building? Is there somebody residing
Yes,
next
yeah.
door?
There's
There's
an
certainly
apartment,
there
bed
is.
and breakfast.
As there is over the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Beside all the other buildings.
Okay.
So.
I mean, that's kind of the price you pay for living downtown, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm very aware of that, and I'm developing this property, and that side, that partition wall there will be heavily insulated. I've done the same thing with the event center and the apartments next door to it.
And I mean, I don't think that we put a time restriction on the event center, I don't believe,
No. there's-
to my knowledge.
Or the coffee
that-
shop.
That I remember. So, I mean, I don't know that you need a time screen. Holly and them are downstairs, and
They're closed anyway.
they're closed anyway at that time. They're usually closed by 5. So I don't know that, I mean, it's up to you, it's your motion, but I don't know.
Well, anybody can make a motion to amend
Yes.
my motion, so.
That's all I would ask, if that could be amended, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me, hold on a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
Like, what is the typical time at the venue that they, because I'm assuming you would use it in conjunction with that
Yeah,
somewhat.
our cutoff is 11 o'clock. They're out of the door by 12, so.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to.
Let's,
You're
yeah,
showing-
Oh, that's right, okay.
we'll get there.
Let me get ahead of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any, does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Jenkins? Okay. Is there anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3506 based on what Mr. Jenkins has just discussed? Anybody for or against? If not, I'll close the open forum. We have a motion on the table and a second on the table. The motion can be amended at this point.
Okay. I'll make a motion to amend, do I need to read all of it again? Is that
No,
right?
the
Okay.
only the amendment.
I'll make a motion to,
You will be amending
the time,
number 3 of the condition.
I'll make a motion to amend condition number 3, times of 8 a.m., amending it from 9 p.m. to midnight.
Second.
Do I have a second?
You want to leave 8?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. The first vote will be for the amendment. Okay. Sarah, may we get a vote for the amendment?
Heather,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Okay, can we get a second vote for the as amended first motion?
Okay. Heather,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Mr. Skinner, Mr. Jenkins, Appeal 3506 has been approved, has been granted in your favor. Thank you very much for presentation, and y'all have a great evening.
Thank you.
Our next appeal is 3507. Mr. Davis, will you bring that one to our attention, please?
Sure. Bose Appeal 3507 is submitted by Walter or Brenda Crawford for the property located at 1655 South Green Street. The applicant is requesting a 25.14-foot front yard setback variance for a new building pursuant to Article 27, Schedule of Regulations, Schedule B, Appendix A zoning code, City of Henderson, Kentucky. The property is zoned highway commercial. Notices were sent to surrounding neighbors. We have not received calls concerning this appeal. The variance worksheet states that there are special circumstances for this particular lot that make it different from other lots in the same zone. The topography of the lot makes it impossible to meet the required setbacks and still maintain a reasonable building area on the lot. Other special circumstances are the corner lot with a double 30-foot setback, declining elevations of the property from Ed's Alley to Green Street make the building elevations difficult. The entrance to the building off McLean is heavily restricted by utilities and a ditch. Strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance impose an unnecessary hardship on the applicant or deprive the applicant of reasonable use of the land. The purpose of the new building is to house equipment and supplies for our business. The proposed building plan is providing the best use because any other plan would severely affect entering or exiting the property. Special circumstances they state in the worksheet are: 1, the granting of the variance will not affect public health, safety, or welfare in that variance of building's site toward McLean will not affect traffic, utilities, or the public in any way. 2, the granting of the variance will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity in that a new building will be more appealing and in no way have an adverse effect on anyone. 3, the granting of the variance will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public in that The proposed building will be approximately 31 feet from the edge of the blacktop on McLean Ave. 4, the granting of the variance will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the zoning ordinance in that on McLean Ave, there are heavy utilities on the northeast side of the street, three-phase electric line and underground gas lines. The other side of the street is void of utilities, and any improvement would surely go on the southwest side. Staff has reviewed the request, recommend approval, and submit the request for the board's consideration and action.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Does this board have any questions for Mr. Davis?
Yes. Steve, the lot, was that where, I think it was Sportsman's Corner?
Yeah.
And it burned?
Mhm.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Davis? If there are no other questions, will the applicant or applicant's representative approach the podium, please?
I think Gary forgot about the meeting. If we might get to see that here.
You want the table?
I would like a motion to table Appeal 3507, please.
I'll make a motion to appeal 3507.
Second.
Second.
Vote.
I don't think you said table. I think
Is it
you said
appeal?
Did I say appeal? Oh, well, let me make a motion to table,
Appeal 35.
appeal 3507. I thought that's what it was, but maybe I didn't.
Get a second, okay. Sarah, may we get a vote?
Heather,
Yes.
Landon,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Mr. Davis, Appeal 3508. What do you got for us?
Notice of appeal number 3508 is submitted by Andrew Simpson for the property located at 2617 Heather Lane. The applicant is requesting a 9.5-foot front yard setback variance for the addition of a front porch pursuant to Article 27, Schedule of Regulations, Schedule A, Appendix A, Zoning Code, City of Henderson, Kentucky. Property is zoned R2. Notices were sent to surrounding neighbors. We have not received calls concerning this appeal. The variance worksheet states that there are special circumstances for this particular lot that make it different from other lots in the same zone. Special circumstances stated in the worksheet are they are wanting to add a front porch to provide shelter from the weather. Strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance impose an unnecessary hardship on the applicant or deprive the applicant of reasonable use of the land. Special circumstances they stated in the worksheet are the granting of the variance will not affect public health, safety, or welfare in that it will be constructed in accordance with local code. 2, the granting of the variance will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity in that other homes in the vicinity include the same structure. There are other homes that do have a front porch on them. 3, the granting of the variance will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public in that all watershed will be contained on the property. Number 4, the granting of the variance will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the zoning ordinance in that it will follow all codes and zoning ordinances. Staff has reviewed the request, recommend approval, and submit the request for the board's consideration and action.
Any questions for Mr. Davis? Do we have a picture showing the expectation of what the porch will be? I cannot read that.
The applicant may.
Okay. Does this board have any more questions for Steve? If not, I will ask the applicant or applicant's representative to approach the podium and sign in with your name and address, please. Please state your name.
Andrew Simpson?
Mr. Simpson, do you promise to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you have something that can kind of give us a little more of an idea? And let me tell you, if you give this to us, we can't give it back.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very fitting of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that house should have like a wraparound porch. Every time I drove by, I was like, it needs a wraparound.
Needs something on the
Yeah,
front, for sure.
yes. Landon, you want to see this?
Mr. Simpson, is there anything else that you would like to add in addition to Mr. Davis's testimony?
Nope, there's other homes in the area that have front porch on it, so we're hoping to maybe increase property value for the whole area, not just ourselves. That's all I have.
Okay. Does this board have any questions for Mr. Simpson? Mr. Simpson, one of the things that we, whenever there's an addition similar to this, we always ask about making sure that your runoff from the additional roof structure won't be imposing on your neighbors. Is your gutter system probably going to be heading toward the street?
It's going to tie into the current gutter system,
Okay.
which comes out in the yard.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay, thank you. Does this board have any questions for Mr. Simpson? Any questions for Mr. Simpson? If not, if you'd like to be seated, please.
Thank you.
do so. And I've got to do this. Is there anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3508? Is there anybody here to speak for or against Appeal 3508? If there is nobody here to speak for or against Appeal 3508, I will close the open forum and ask for a motion, please.
I move that we grant Appeal 3508 for a 9.5-foot front yard setback variance for a covered porch for the property located at 2617 Heather Lane with the following conditions. Watershed should be contained on property. Porch should tie into the current home. The porch should fit into the current aesthetics of the neighborhood. And the existing structure does not meet the current setbacks, and the proposed addition is a reasonable and expected use of the property, and that the evidence presented showed that the granting of this appeal will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, and that it will be constructed in accordance of local codes, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, and that other homes in the vicinity include the same structure, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and that all watershed will be contained on the property, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations, and that it will follow all codes and zoning ordinances.
May I get a second, please?
Second.
Is there any discussion among this board? If not, Sarah, may I get a vote, please?
Heather,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Marcos.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson, Appeal 3508 has been granted in your favor. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
May I get a motion to accept the meeting minutes of December 13, 2023, please?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second? Vote?
Heather,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes?
Raymond,
Yes.
Marcos.
Yes.
I'm assuming that somewhere along the way, we pulled
Okay.
3509 and I missed it.
3409,
3509.
3509 was pulled. It was,
Okay.
is there any other business to come before this board this evening? If there is no further business to come before this board this evening, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody. I like these.
So,
Yeah.
I guess Mike is resigned, or going to resign?
I haven't heard anything about it. But he also didn't reply.